While Bitcoin is wrecking overly leveraged traders, Ethereum is starting to look pretty damn good. In today's video, we'll be talking about exactly this, going over the recent liquidity zones for Bitcoin and also touching on how Ethereum is starting to outperform. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So first things first, as per usual, let's kick us off with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin did actually get a very bullish daily close yesterday, closing right around $110,300. Now, we did get a retest today so far back to this fair value gap, which brought us all the way down to the low 108K level. Now we are starting to climb back up, and this is likely shaking out a lot of leverage traders because as we can see, there was a ton of liquidity built out to both sides. And if we go on the 48-hour map here, we can see that most of the liquidity now is to the downside. That being said though, over the past 12 hours, zooming in a little bit closer, look at that liquidity map. A lot of people are currently trying to short this market, expecting a further downfall for Bitcoin. However, a lot of people are also going long. And if we take a look at this overview of the Bitcoin exchange liquidation map, it paints the same picture. Over the past 30 days, we are very much even. Now, this has been transitioning a lot, and you know that I like covering this chart on the channel, but it really paints the clear picture. No one knows where the market is about to head. Is it going to explode past all-time highs, and are we going to have an extremely bullish summer, or could we go ahead and chop around as I've been talking about on the channel? Now, this wouldn't tell me that we're going to go and crash. That is out of the question. I do think that Bitcoin is ready to set this choppy summer in place. And what I mean by this is taking a look at the Bitcoin chart, we'll go back to my base case. I think that it is highly likely that Bitcoin chops around within this range over the course of the summer. Now, there is one of you that has been watching the channel leaving comments down below saying that a choppy summer thesis means that I have no conviction. But if we take a look at the previous cycles, we have seen this time and time again. It's still my base case. We will likely chop around in the summer. That does mean, though, that we can go and grab some of that liquidity to the upside. And as Bitcoin starts to trickle on up and break out, what we did see on the liquidation map is that more and more people went long and went very aggressive. Then, when Bitcoin came back down and had a little bit of that correction that we saw on the daily time frame today, we liquidated a lot of those longs. So right here is a little bit of a tricky predicament. Will we set a new all-time high? That is the question that everyone is asking. And according to my comment section, a lot of you think that this is highly feasible. Now, I'm not saying that this is an impossibility. We can go ahead and grab liquidity to the upside. But as I've been saying, I don't think we will be making an aggressive all-time high into the 120, 125K levels as a lot of other creators are calling for. Now, if we take a look at this Bitcoin chart a little bit closer, I want you to pay attention to one level, and that is the 109.3 to 109.5K region. The reason why this is so important is because it is the previous all-time high, which was set on Inauguration Day. This level has posed as critical support and resistance. Close above this level and Bitcoin will be putting in a new all-time high in my opinion. However, close below this level and start to get confirmations back here into this fair value gap, that is when I do think Bitcoin will be moving lower. It's pretty simple. We saw that when we got a close above this level, and as a matter of fact, when we got a close above the 106.2K level, Bitcoin ripped on up and put an all-time high. However, when we came back down and retested this level, we seem to have failed, and that's what sent Bitcoin back to the 100K region. So what I'm looking at here for more upside for Bitcoin is to start closing daily candles above this level. Now, it is entirely possible that this could happen as we tapped into the fair value gap, and now we are currently at a battling candle. A lot of longs and a lot of shorts are now getting liquidated. So this is a time in the market where it's okay to sit on your hands. As I've been talking about, we accumulated Bitcoin at much lower levels, and in my Telegram community, I told you that I was accumulating Bitcoin right around the 75K local low and also accumulating Ethereum sub $1,500. This is the time where you just chill out and relax. Now, from a trading perspective, as I said, we want to see Bitcoin hold above 109.5K to see continued upside. However, we start getting those closes below that level, and that is when we can expect Bitcoin to go ahead and move lower, likely lower into this fair value gap. Now, let's talk about Ethereum because this is the main topic of this video. First of all, we are very much flirting with the bull market support band against Bitcoin. Now, the reason why this is important is because it tells you the valuation of Ethereum against Bitcoin. When Ethereum starts outperforming Bitcoin, historically, this means that we do get a very, very nice altcoin season, where Ethereum outperforms Bitcoin and so do altcoins. And so if Ethereum can go ahead and actually hold this level as support, it could go ahead and trickle on higher. That would be not just favorable for ETH, but also for altcoins, as we've been covering on the channel. And actually, another thing that we've covered on the channel is the valuation of Solana against Ethereum. And if you've been watching, you know that it's fully within my expectation that Solana will be bleeding against Ethereum. And this is exactly what we're starting to see, a capitulation of Sol ETH. Now, if we break below the 0.55 level, there's basically nothing but air below here. And so at that point, I do think it would be an even more aggressive move for Solana against Ethereum. Ethereum likely to continue to outperform Solana, which was my base case. Now let's take a look at ETH on its US dollar valuation. This is the most bullish chart you can imagine. Now, as long as Bitcoin doesn't mess anything up here, Ethereum looks poised for more upside. The reason being, we've been chopping around this range for literally a month now. Every time we wick to the high, we've been getting rejected and moving lower to the $2,400 region. However, every time we touch the low, we go ahead and trickle on up to this upper region right around 2750. So today we actually talked about a potential Ethereum long as we broke out of this zone, but then we went ahead and closed it basically at break even because we can see that we are starting to struggle around this region. Once we get the confirmed breakout, especially on the daily time frame for Ethereum outside of this region, we could be targeting as high as over $3,000 per ETH. Now, this would be an absolutely epic trade. So keep your eyes on ETH because I do think that if Bitcoin does behave, ETH can move much, much higher given how this chart is currently looking. We do have these periods of consolidation by ETH, and you can see we consolidate for a month, we have explosive moves to the upside. So maybe we consolidate even more. Maybe Ethereum goes and chops around much further into the summer, and then we have one of the most parabolic, explosive moves of the cycle. The only thing that has me slightly concerned at this point is that everyone is actually talking about this next huge Ethereum rally, so make sure that you're careful because the market makers are paying attention here. This is why we likely also get a lot of wicks to the upside, little fake outs, only to lose that position, which is exactly what we talked about today. Basically, I tried to enter a breakout long, but Ethereum's candle went ahead and closed back below this level. Let's wait for the confirmation to be absolutely sure that this could be an excellent trade. Now, some news pieces that are also contributing to this Bitcoin price action. US and China did conclude their trade talks in London, and earlier in the day, Secretary Lutnick came out and said that the trade talks with China are going well and they will continue all day. So ultimately, this is positive. We'll have to see how things develop on this matter, but I will make sure to keep you updated on these trade deals and how they're coming along. Back to the Bitcoin chart. Oh, let's talk about Bitcoin dominance. A lot of you will be pointing out right now that the weekly candle for Bitcoin dominance is red. You need to be careful here because we've seen this time and time again where it only creates a wick to the downside before going ahead and moving higher. Right now, altcoins are getting a little bit of relief against Bitcoin because Bitcoin is just chopping around into this range. But when Bitcoin makes its next big move up to all-time highs or a bigger dump, altcoins will continue to suffer, especially against Bitcoin. Of course, if Bitcoin goes ahead and pumps, altcoins will still pump, but Bitcoin will be stealing the show, especially if it makes a new all-time high. If you want to trade this market, you have the second link in my description down below, which brings you directly to Bluffin. And depending on how much you trade, you can earn some pretty significant bonuses, whether you're a whale trader or whether you're just an ordinary trader. Bonuses for everyone. That is the second link in my description down below. It's one of the top exchanges that I've been using, and I've been personally trading over hundreds of thousands of dollars on this platform. And the last thing I just wanted to cover here are the spot ETFs. We can see that the Bitcoin ETF flows have been relatively neutral over the past couple weeks. We got significant outflows, but we did see some significant inflows. However, this also contributes to Ethereum's outperformance because we could see that the Ethereum ETF flow is now nothing but positive basically over the past month. So this is a sign that all of the institutional investors through these spot ETFs are accumulating Ethereum. And of course, taking a look at the Ethereum chart, this is exactly what we want to see. Now, right now, as I'm recording this video, it does look like we are potentially looking to break out from this zone. So let's see how it develops, but we need to get some closes above here because we did see many fake outs. And these fake outs can bring Ethereum from $2,750 all the way down to $2,400. This is a pretty significant drop. So make sure that you're careful if you're trading this price action. And I just wanted to summarize this video by saying that overall open interest has skyrocketed a lot. Meanwhile, we do have the US and China with their trade talks supposedly going well. But be careful, because tomorrow we do have CPI data, and we have seen historically that when we have CPI data and we pump into the meeting, we usually get a dump shortly afterwards. So make sure that you're cautious and managing your positions accordingly. Overall though, we have to be honest with ourselves in saying that Ethereum is really starting to outperform Bitcoin. And if we can break above its current bull market support band, hold it as support, Ethereum is likely to see much more upside. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.